Hello, and welcome to another edition of Your Calling is Greater Than Your Crisis. Today is going to be a different lesson. I want to share part of my testimony. It's ongoing, but I feel that it's time to share some of my testimony because hopefully it will help somebody out there in knowing that their calling is greater than their crisis. So I'm going to go back to my senior year in college. And I noticed, physically that it was getting more difficult for me to like walk upstairs, hills, all of that stuff, just incline. It was difficult for me to do. And really didn't know what was going on, but, I persevered and just kept it going. And then before 2020 hit, I was a music teacher at a middle school, and I started to notice as I was putting away instruments and stuff like that, that it was just really physically getting difficult for me. And so I said, I'm going to have to see a doctor. And then 2020 hit, and we were all in lockdown. And really 2020, I stayed active in the house. I did a little wee with my daughters and, tried to do exercises, all of that. But then when 2021 came, I just saw a massive decline in my health, and went to the doctor, went to specialists, and everybody's trying to figure out what it was. First, they thought it was in my mind. They thought it was fibromyalgia, very simple and basic diagnosis. They were saying that really wasn't nothing wrong with me. Then on the spiritual side, I had church folk talking about I don't have enough faith and misquoting scriptures and saying, God can heal you and I know all of that, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But it was just very disheartening because I didn't have a name to my condition. I didn't know what it was. And when you don't know what something is, you're trying to nurture it without even knowing, what it is. And it's very difficult to do it like that. And so I continued to go and take tests, and I had to take the same test over and over again. And then I wind up leaving that medical institution and went to another one. And it started to get better. They started to do different testings because normally, when they see an overweight Black woman, they test for diabetes and high blood pressure and all that. And I don't have that. And I told them that I've always been healthy. I've just been a big woman, but I've always been healthy. And I even went to doctors and they were like, oh, you are really healthy. And I'm like, yeah, you surprised? So I never had that. But of course, looking at me, that's the first thing that they're going to test. And so I kept getting those particular tests. So when I went to the second medical institution, they started testing actually for my condition, which I did appreciate. Went to the neurologist, I saw the rheumatologist, you name it, and they still couldn't figure it out because when they thought that they had their hand as to the diagnosis, there was another test to contradict. So still not taking any medication throughout this whole entire time, right? I'm still just, trying to figure out what I have before they even administer any medication. So came out to Fresno in 2022 in June. And they let me know that, okay, you do have an autoimmune disease, which the other people were saying that, the doctors were saying that could be a possibility that I had. But the rheumatologist out here said it is you have signs of rheumatoid arthritis. So I said, okay. I also have something known as Sjogren syndrome. Now, they diagnosed me with that back home before I came out here to Fresno. So I have that. I have signs of rheumatoid arthritis, but my condition worsened when I came out here. I actually went from not needing aid to walk to actually walking with a walker. And I've been using a walker ever since. And, I am tired of hearing, if you are a doctor, don't ever say this to your patients. You're too young to be using a walker or a walking aid. Don't ever say that. Like, I really prayed and said, you know what, God, I want you to speed up the process of aging and let me not be able to walk on my own. Like, that really was my prayer. Don't do that. I know that I'm young and I know that I have a long life to live, and this was not my choice. So don't ever bring that to someone who has a physical disability, because it was not their prayer, I'm pretty sure. Moving on. I had in-home care providers, physical therapy, speech therapy, all of that, to come and to examine me and to show me how to do things efficiently with my condition. And this is the testimony. So the throat doctor or the throat specialist comes and she says, you know what? She says, with you're weak all over your body. And she said, and in our body we have all these muscles. And she said, you're not supposed to be speaking as well as you are, let alone singing. Because I told her I was a singer and I was recording songs and all of that. And she said, you're not even supposed to be doing what you're doing. And I had to immediately stop and praise God, because I said, God, everything else was affected in my body, but the thing that I praise you with, the gift that you have given me, it went untouched. I could still holler, y'all. I could still yell. I could still sing. I could still shout. I could still give God praise. And that's what matters to me. This body is temporary. And I know that it limits us in this life if we are not whole. I understand that. But you know what? Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. That's all that matters, is if God is still working through me, and if God is getting the glory out of my life, then that's all that matters, because this body is going back to the earth. My soul is the one that's going to live forever. And so I went to the doctor today, and my first time seeing the rheumatologist in person, usually it was over the phone. And she was looking at all my lab work. And she said, you know what? She said, you do have the autoimmune, you do have the Sjogren syndrome. She said, but I think that you got some nerve thing going on as well. And that's what causing the walker. She said, because I don't think the arthritis should have you using a walker at this stage. She said, but I think you got some nerve. So I got three things that's probably going on with me. But all I can say is, God, I thank you. Because honestly, people, it could be worse. It really could. It really could. I mean, I can't wear the things that I would love to wear. I can't wear heels no more. I can't swing my hips like I want to. Can't walk like I want to walk or like I used to walk before. I can't put on my clothes and shower, and I mean just basic things without a struggle, without pain, without it being hard. Every daily living is hard for me, but I still got this smile. You want to know why I got this smile? Because greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And God is continuing to get the glory. He really is. When I first came out here and it was in a walker, people did not acknowledge the walker. They acknowledged me. And then we had a service and the pastor was preaching about just healing and all of that. And I had a couple of women to come up to me and say, you know what, because I see you coming here every day smiling, because I see you still giving God praise, because I see you still using your gifts for the glory of God, I'm not going to be ashamed of what I have. I'm not going to be ashamed of my condition. I'm not going to be ashamed. And that means so much to me, because it's like they seeing that you don't have to be ashamed for having a condition. You don't have to be ashamed for that. If you have kidney failure, cancer, diabetes, whatever, you don't have to be ashamed of that, because God is still working. He still could work through you. Do you hear me? I'm a living witness. He could still work through you. And a lot of church folks, we always tell people, God has to heal us. God has to heal us. God can heal us. We know that for a fact, but he don't have to. He can still work through me, even with this imperfect body. He don't have to do anything. Like the Hebrew boys say, I know that my God is able, but if he don't, I still won't serve Baal. And I'm saying the same thing. I know that my God is able, but if he does not heal me, guess what? I'm still going to serve him. I don't know anything different. So I want you to be encouraged. I don't know everything that's going on with me physically. I don't. But what I do know is that the God in me is working out of me. And I am still effective in his kingdom. And I still have a calling. I still have a purpose. I still matter. And so do you. So I want to leave you with that on today. Pray for me as I pray for you. And just know that your calling is greater than your crisis. Till we meet again. I gotta go on, I gotta go on.